Don't worry about that.
Right, 3 o'clock, we call the meeting of the Nantucket Cemetery Commission to order for Wednesday, January 8th. I declare we have a quorum present, and we'll move right to the agenda. First, no public comment, any commissioner comments? No. Not at this point. I always put that on there for just to remind myself. But the minutes from December 11th, those were submitted, and it had been looking to approve.
I would make a motion to approve the minutes,
Okay,
December 11th.
I'll second. And all in favor, we'll do roll call. Fran?
Aye.
Barbara?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Those minutes are approved. Lot sales since last meeting. I sold 2 lots to the same family. And these are lots F7 and F6 in the newly laid out parts at Pulpa Cemetery. I have the application for both of the lots filled out, and we have a check for it too. So, all in favor? It's for 2 lots.
The name of the,
Circo, Ivy and Fran Circo.
These were approved at the last meeting.
Yeah. Oh, we did.
Yeah, I just we didn't get your signature on.
Oh,
the paper.
okay. We just had to see.
Yeah, everything was voted on in the last meeting.
Yeah.
We just needed the chair's signature
I see.
on the paperwork,
Okay.
which is why I must have passed it back.
Okay, so I've done the paperwork. The last meeting was December 11th, so I'll change the date on this. And then we have a second one.
I think
Yeah, for Flynn.
we'll do this one.
Yeah, this is for Kelly Flynn.
We did that one last meeting.
Yep, Carrie Flynn, lot
Very
G8.
fun.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, again, we just needed your signature on
Yeah.
Okay. No, they must have had to check that because,
I believe so.
okay. All right, so we've already approved
Yes.
this.
Just need your signature on the bottom
the,
of that one.
And this would have been last month.
Correct, yes.
You've already signed it though.
yeah, but he has to give the date.
Yeah, I'll put the date in. December 11th, 2024. Approved. Check. And there's the check.
Yep. Yeah, the other check was here on the back of this one.
Oh.
So we are all set.
Oh, great.
Okay. There are a couple of other ones that I want to check on, but I can do that with, I guess, I don't have on my chart that we approved Tanya Eldridge. This would have been some time ago, or a year or so ago.
I remember that Tanya had asked to hold those. I'm not sure she's ever given you a check.
Oh, maybe that was the issue. That was lot E2.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll double check to see if that,
She said it was so appropriate because it was 2 for Eldridge.
yes.
But I think she had not paid you.
Okay, I noticed it wasn't colored on my chart, which is an indication that
Yeah, it wasn't finalized.
done something for it. And then there are 2 other ones, lots C23 and C24 for Todd Winship. And that would have been,
Gosh, I remember talking about that.
yeah, that was a while ago. In those there, but again, those squares weren't marked on the chart, so I Just,
We'll look into
we'll
it.
just follow up and see if that is correct, if they paid for them and so on. Okay, so
So
that,
I might mention this to Tanya, it's plot E, what was it?
2.
2, okay, yeah.
oh, yeah, E2 for Tanya.
Two for Eldridge.
Yeah, right.
I'll ask her about it.
Okay, all right, let's move on to the next, the projects, which is Poplar Cemetery. One of the things that, I want to be sure we have in place is the recording of these, as they go through. And that's why this came up when I'm going through my records and I saw that those blocks weren't colored there or weren't marked as sold, the ones we just discussed there. One of the issues that you may remember we had with the changeover that we had with the last DPW director and so on. Apparently, there were a whole bunch that never got recorded, and that was how can I put it? Anyway, it took me a while to go back. I had to contact all those people and figure out what to do and all that sort of thing. So I want to be sure we don't do that again, because I was reading our mission statement, and our main mission is for the accurate recording of burials and town cemeteries. So,
Be careful.
so anyway, that's sort of one of the things, as we I want to start thinking ahead about what we want to do. And I thought Poplar Cemetery would be a good place to start here, because we already have Newtown and New North. Those are the last two as far as the monument restoration. So those are already in the pipeline. But every time I'm up at Pompous, and that brings up one other thing. I have met virtually every lot that we've sold out of Purpose. I meet the people out there, I tell them all the history of it, recommend Fran's book about the history and that sort of thing. But my concern is I'm not going to be here forever. And as I'm getting older, I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. So I want to be sure. Well, one of the things we'll talk about is getting new members on, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, but I think we're in pretty good shape there, because we have 3 very qualified individuals who are
Right.
willing to step in
Exactly.
when an opening comes up.
And when
Well,
it's gonna be in June.
And the thing is, that we don't have to wait. Yeah, I know. I realize that. And,
Well, we talked about having people who are interested in stepping in, coming to visit, or somehow expanding things. We told expansion is much too complicated. We have told those people interested
right,
coming in. As you remember, Mike Harrison did come
it did, yeah.
once.
So,
Yes, I think we're okay.
I think we are.
good, all right, well then, I won't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
No, we do have either, any of those would be good.
He said to me that he's ready whenever there is a vacancy. I mean, within the last month. Yes.
And my last meeting is June, I believe. I don't know if it's June or.
Yes. Maybe
It's
June.
June.
The turnover would be,
So do I come
July
in
1.
June? Okay, all right, so I'll be at June, I think.
But,
Yeah, I got a very busy schedule. This spring.
I won't really talk to you.
And we
until
will-
I-
No,
We will have completed our film project.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to write a final report.
Well, I've got to say, I think this has been an amazing committee. I mean, with Lee taking the minutes, Scotty and his involvement with the stones and everything like that. And the three of us with the history and the background of it. So it's been pretty amazing. Committee. All right, so other things as far as Pulpus, we have the map layout and layout of the grounds and so on. I wanted to think about some of the grounds improvements.
For Pulpus?
Pulpus, yeah.
Really?
Well, so two sides of the cemetery are taken care of. We have the fence along that adjacent property there. We have the road, Pulpus Road, on the other side of the parking area. So the other two sides are the woodland side, and then the side where there's the encroachment on it. And what?
Fencing?
Hmm?
Maybe fencing?
Well, that's one of the things I was thinking about. I'm not, the most sensitive side is the side facing the Hicks property. And what I would like to do is to let the vegetation grow in to sort of block that. And there was some resistance, I think, to doing that when we discussed it before. But
Resistance from the committee?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, are you in favor of planting new stuff or just letting the bracken sort of grow?
Right, what I was, that was my thought, is to just let it grow, which is what we've been doing.
Of course, they did some planting.
So
The Hickses did some planting.
they did some planting on our property, and I thanked Jeannie Hicks came over to me. I think this was the last time I had met with her out there, or I didn't meet with her. I was out there working and she was out in her yard and she came over. And this was back when we were still back and forth and all that sort of thing. So I didn't want to antagonize her or anything, but she started to complain about us not doing it. I said, wait a minute.
About us, what?
About us not getting this progress,
That was a while ago, though, Fran.
Yeah, it was a while ago. And so I said, well, look, you have planted trees and grasses and other things on our property, on town property. And she said, you can't do that. You're not allowed to, you can't do that. So she got all huffy about that. And so then she turned around and walked off, and I thanked her. I said, well, thank you for donating those plants to the cemetery commission.
Well, I guess I want to know, I mean, are you talking about, you're not talking just about where the building is, but you're talking about that whole side?
Well, once you get beyond where the garage is,
Right.
Then it's all sort of,
It is.
the septic
Right,
field and all
right.
that sort of thing.
I would sort of defer to Charlie in a way. What would your thinking be? Would we want to put a split rail fence around the whole property?
We could. We could also leave instead of putting the split rail fence right on the property line, because there is the encroachment, just pick a straight line and then let a vegetative buffer just naturally grow in behind the split rail fence.
Well, that's sort of what
Between them,
we've
is that-
done, except without the fence, so it's
Right.
just let the stuff
I
go.
do think I'm not a huge lover of split rail fences, to be honest, but I do think it's kind of nice to delineate a cemetery.
Well, that's what I was saying. Every time I'm up there, I walk around the
Maybe
cemetery.
the back end, what do you think? It's the DPW, and that's a lot more money.
Yeah, split rail is easy.
Mhm.
That's the nice part about that. It defines a boundary.
Right.
I guess the question would be, do we need to push the northern edge to the,
Mhm.
further? But I think we start to get into kind of some wet
Yeah,
areas there. So do we just take the currently maintained mowed area and just delineate it with a split rail fence and not worry? We'll never be able to
we'll never be able to use that.
use that wet area, unfortunately. So we can just let that stay natural, put a fence on the current mowed border. And then it's delineated with a split rail.
Right.
That's pretty easy.
I feel like it would be nice to have it on the exact property line.
It would be, But
I
the
mean, I
thing
think it
is,
sends a message as well, especially if that property changes hands.
well, when the property changes hands, then there's the whole other,
Right, I don't know,
Where does that stand? We're working on a license agreement with them, is that what it turned out to be?
well, that was originally the plan. We were gonna license something back to them. And then we were gonna trade, square footage for square
Yeah,
footage.
but we,
Oh, no,
we
it's
were
since
getting
then.
more
Since then.
wetland on the north end, if I remember, is what they wanted to do. But
Yeah, right. So anyway, when it,
I feel like we haven't heard from the person at the town building in so long that I don't know where it stands. right?
well, right, the issue there, the basic issue is that there is an encroachment on town property. And the Hicks property is land court. So by the fact that it's a land quartered property means that doing any changes on the deed is a big deal.
Right.
So that would be in terms of exchanging. land.
Right,
Doing
right.
these-
So, but given that we think it's as it is, right?
Yeah.
It's a exchange is not going on. But we would want to check with Tracy as to if there's anything going on before we do anything.
Yeah, I thought that the plan was to license to them
I
what
seem to
they
recall
have,
as
and then basically
well.
the property line would kind of come up and just jog around the licensed
Yeah,
property
Right,
to them. So we would essentially just go to what, basically the mode, what I believe is now the mode
Right,
border.
right. I don't, I mean, I would be in favor of fencing the whole, everything we have. At least that's what without a whole lot of going up and looking at it, but I would want to check with Tracy if we're not gonna do the bump out, then then we should just fence it.
We can always fence up the side of the garage,
Yeah, right.
leave the encroachment and pick it up on the other side of the house and have it surveyed, if that's what.
I'd be all right with that,
Yeah, and part of,
especially if it changes.
I'll inquire
But I think we
with
need
Tracy,
to check.
I'll find out where we
We need to
stand,
be careful.
if it is licensed, if not, then we could essentially
Yeah.
go up our border, and if this is the garage, just come up to it,
Right.
and then grab it where, we'll have it surveyed, so we know exactly where the line is.
well, we've had, I don't know how many surveyors out there.
Right, I don't think that's inappropriate, and I don't
No, it
think
should be,
it would
if
cause any
someone like,
repercussions.
Blackwell Associates has done it in the
Yeah.
past, it should be at least, I would want to get it resurveyed, so we have an exact pin
Yeah.
on the corner of the garage,
Right.
so we know we're not putting the fence
Right.
on their property.
Absolutely.
There are boundaries.
Are they
There are
marked?
4 concrete boundaries
Okay.
at 4 corners of the cemetery, including the one that's sort of in the middle of the fence on the town side, where the angle sort of goes across there. That's all town property, but it's not cemetery.
I just think we should make it clear, that's all, and if, if property is going to change hands at some point, I think that putting our stamp, if you will, on what we have would be better than having it, like, I think it's here, I think it's there, right? Like when we go out there, I don't mean you,
Yeah.
but when people go out there, and I don't know, that would make me feel,
My concern is that, the house is right, it's right there. The vegetation has been growing in, so it's kind of screening the garage and so on. The grasses that they planted are getting bigger and all that sort of thing.
it's still an encroachment now, and I think that the fence,
It is an
It's a good
encroachment,
idea.
but it's not an area that I think they ever put graves in because it's right adjacent, right adjacent to the
well,
garage.
let's table that.
Okay, what is this out?
Talk to Tracy.
I'm just thinking sort of long term, but
Yeah.
I guess for the.
Well, that's why I'm thinking long-term, and we
Yeah.
can't count on those grasses being there, they could not be irrigated, they could die off or whatever, but if we said this is our land, then,
Yeah. Right,
20 years down the road, someone won't plant there.
yeah, well, those bounds aren't gonna go into it,
Right,
those
but-
combos, so,
Yeah,
and those
anyhow,
are official bounds, particularly if it's a land courted property, they have to have
Yeah.
the bounds in the corner, so.
okay.
All right, well, so,
So we should all go out there and look at it maybe, again, well, next time I drive by there and stuff.
Yeah, that's, I'm up there
I know, yeah,
fairly often,
Yeah.
just,
I should do that more.
just to sort of check it out. But I try, in fact, I try to go to each of the cemeteries, all 9 of them, maybe once a month. But yeah, just
Oh, well,
because,
that brings me, we were talking about going to discuss at the previous meeting about possibly putting a sign over on the Milk Street or the Vestal Street extension that goes on that side of the
That's,
Quaker Cemetery. We talked about that.
oh,
We
yes,
did.
We shouldn't let that slide by. But can you,
It's, yeah, Ray and I talked about it briefly. So it's on his radar.
great.
when,
okay, oh, good,
So,
yeah, as long as,
yeah.
yeah.
So we can move on to the monument restoration.
Okay.
Are we done with Columbus Allen?
Let me just see if there's anything else. Oh, the record, as far as the record keeping, data, I'll follow up with Charlie on that. And make sure that we have, like, as I say, it was the ones that I mentioned earlier for Todd Winship and so on,
Like after the last meeting, when
Yeah,
I went right into the system and yellowed these
yeah.
out as
Right.
sold, or green them up, yellow are the open ones. They've been updated.
Right, perfect. Okay, next one, monument restoration project. New North and,
Yeah, so Newtown is, submittals are due Friday. So Friday at some point, I think Friday 2 o'clock, everyone should have their numbers in.
Great.
this is for the bids.
Yep. So
okay.
that bid is out, has been out and open. So Friday's the deadline for submissions.
Right.
So,
That's right, I keep
And
forgetting
then,
the process.
New North?
is in the system. I didn't want, because the names are so close,
Yeah, good idea.
the number of headstones are so close. I figured let's release them one at a time, because I also want to make sure that we have enough funds. Because
Yeah, exactly.
I did some rough numbers on where I think it should be, which is how we came up with the amount of money we asked for from CPC.
All right.
It's been now, a year and change later. So who knows?
I bet you're very smart.
So we asked for, I think we got 157,000, which is based on a per stone price. But if someone comes in, if the low price is now 100,000, we'll have to sort out funds.
Exactly.
So I wanted to make sure we've got one locked in on a contract, and then we'll release the other. Because if we have to, we could always change the scope of work a little bit. If the fund, we could say, okay, if it's just one that's, it's still standing, but it's leaning a little bit, maybe then we'd have to go in and prioritize the category 3s, the brokens, or like how we'd have to look at it. But
Great.
I'll have an answer Monday. I'm going to be actually off island for funeral on Friday. But I'll have the number and I'll email everyone Monday.
Great,
Wonderful.
good.
That's
So
such good
yeah,
news.
boy.
Such good news.
The legal status of Newtown. I haven't heard anything back from Tracy. I know she's really busy with it.
Yeah, I know from a conversation we had the other day, her and town council, everything is moving. I think more on town council, it's moving just very slowly.
Yeah.
At the moment, right now they're trying to get everything wrapped up for
What?
town meeting.
but it is moving?
It's moving.
How
It's-
glacially slow?
Yeah, glacially slow, but it's on it's on her radar.
It's on her radar. Well, that's good.
And that's the thing, she is very confident.
Yeah.
So once she gets into it, she will come
Yeah.
up with.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, people are overworked and.
Yeah, I think it's tough too with, doing everything for town meeting plus.
That, years go by and there's always the thing is, we're really overworked because town meeting is coming up, and as soon as town meeting is over, it's already the next town.
Or it's town meeting or it's special town
Annual
meeting.
yes,
That's why the biggest adjustment
Right,
coming
but
to work for the
as long
town
as
is
as long
the
as it
the
is
pace.
not dropped off the
Yeah.
agenda.
Yeah. All part of the fun. I think that takes care of that. Video of
There we go. Well, both of us. In December, Barbara and I were sent the first rough cut.
Right.
And asked to comment on it. And also not just to comment, but comment on it really quickly. I think I sent my comments in on December 23rd. And now we have the second rough cut. And Paul Sanderson called me yesterday and hopes that we could get our comments on this one in the course of this week.
So we're meeting on Friday and.
So that, then he really hopes that another week goes by and we will have something that we can actually show to other people, have a look at. So because we would like to have the first public showing on the big screen at the Dreamland, I consulted Charlie Walters about who to ask, and he told me that we need to ask Josh Gray.
Right.
And I had sort of summarized it to Charlie, and he said, just tell Josh what you just told me.
Yeah.
So I did that on Monday, and now it's Wednesday, and I haven't heard yet, but then again, it's quite possible that Josh is filing.
Yeah.
I anticipate I will hear from him, and I think our first wish would be if we could actually slot it in on Juneteenth. If not, a little bit before Juneteenth. And if there's still problems with finding the right day and time at the Dreamland, then if they say, yes, we'll do it, but this is what we have. But, you know, if we had our brothers, we'd like it to be a Juneteenth event.
Right.
So the other thing is, Molly Glazer and her son, Isaiah, are doing music. And in the second rough cut, we have more of the music in.
Nice too.
Yeah. Oh, you know, it's lovely music, and it's also special because it's Nantucket musicians.
Yeah.
So every year for a long, long time, Al and I would direct royalties from sales of his books to a good cause. And posthumously, Al's royalties ballooned during the pandemic because he'd written a book called America's Forgotten Pandemic. And I directed those royalties to a number of charities. And basically, I've been using his royalties for either memorial donations. So my decision was that this year I would direct his royalties to funds, actually to Charlie, to pay honoraria to Molly and Isaiah for the music. Because although Barbara and I are doing this pro bono.
Which was not my decision. I wanted to have some money. I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna be, yeah,
Well,
yeah, it's done.
I mean, I didn't see any way, if we took money away from the production, we wouldn't.
I know.
But on the other hand, I really feel that it, well, all the presenters, and Barbara and I are all doing this pro bono, I very strongly feel that you shouldn't ask for original composition and performance to go uncompensated. So
It really is.
I'm donating $1,000 of Bell's royalties
Oh,
to the cemetery commission funds in order to pay honoraria to Molly and Isaiah.
Yeah.
That's my use of Bell's
I think it's
royalties
lovely.
this year.
I hope that, you and I'll talk about it. I hope that they get that in the credits. You know, we haven't talked about credits yet.
Yeah, well,
But anyhow,
when we do the credits, the offshore wind fund said they have to be prominently
of course.
stamped. And then I think we also say funds from the estate of Alfred W.
Yeah.
Crosby.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
That's how I would like it. to
Well,
be
this has
acknowledged.
really turned into a very interesting project that it really,
It,
really
it,
brought
it has,
together.
it has been, heartwarming on so many levels.
Right. And I was so sorry to miss the program on Saturday. It was, I have,
Barbara spoke so beautifully. It was just so well done.
I read the review.
It, yeah, it was good.
That was good. Yeah. Well, I was really sorry to miss it because I
Okay,
was,
we had a full house, so that was good.
yeah, well,
That was the thing that was concerning because it was on the weekend when people were coming back from vacations. And on top of that, there have been so many boat cancellations.
Yeah, and there were other meetings going
And we
on.
thought, it could be sparsely attended,
mhm.
but it wasn't.
Yeah,
It was well attended.
that was heartwarming as well.
So that's good.
So, yeah, it's onward and happen.
Great, good.
Talk to Chantal
I did yesterday.
about the video. She, like year, she's been putting together Juneteenth activities.
No, I have not talked with her about that.
So we should make sure it's added in to the list
Well,
of things. And I would also just think the reason
I'll talk to her.
the Dreamland Theater is an option. I wonder if they would do it at the screen at the drive-in.
Well, it's probably gonna be 35 minutes. So you mean like before a movie? Because that's pretty long, 35.
Well, I don't, usually the drive-in isn't open. Someone's wondering if for some reason the actual Dreamland Theater didn't work out, the
Right.
drive-in
Right,
theater could be a
Right.
space to, you could
Yeah.
have.
I think they'll do it in the theater,
Oh, I think so too. It's as an option
but that's good to know.
for some reason.
Sometime after our first public showing of it, Noel Trent, who's the executive director of the museum, said that they would want to show it at the meeting house.
Oh, good.
But it's definitely not going to be the public showing because I think that there will be so many people for the first public showing that will pretty much fill
I
up the
think
Dreamland.
the Dreamland, would be the best because, well, first of all, you have 22 people in the film.
Mhm.
They each bring one person, where it's just, I
Yeah,
think,
wouldn't fit in.
so,
We can, once, after the video, we can get it onto YouTube.
Yeah.
Embed it into the cemetery.
Yeah.
Commission page, get it, and then we can get a QR code at the cemetery.
Yeah.
Yep.
To
Yeah,
link to it as well.
And actually, I'm seeing Dr. Kane tomorrow at the hospital, and she had said that the hospital might be interested in having some sort of kiosk where people at the hospital would be able to watch it. My thought is, for instance, people who were there for a couple of hours for dialysis would be able to watch the film.
Yeah.
Because people who are there waiting a short time,
Yeah.
they're not gonna watch the whole thing. But some people are at the hospital for a longer time. So I'm going to suggest to Dr. Kane tomorrow that she meet with Barbara and me sometime when she has time to talk about exactly how the hospital could present the film.
Yeah,
since
exactly.
they're about her.
Well, they are neighbors. so,
Right, exactly. Well, I mean,
you know,
last time I had a colonoscopy, I was overlooking it, right?
Exactly.
So I think people
So even if in
are
that room,
interested.
like if there's overlooking, even if there was a plaque, again,
Yeah.
if so you don't have to go to the expense of a full-on kiosk, you get everyone's phone can pull it up onto YouTube. So you get, maybe there's some sort of a clever, plaque that's put near a window, like,
Yep.
what are you looking at?
Yeah.
Scan here to learn about the cemetery
Good idea.
that you're viewing.
Right.
Right.
So there will be multiple opportunities. I know at some point we'll also be showing it at the NHA, and they said that they,
And the NCTV said they would also probably.
so it will have multiple showings
Yeah.
as a new.
Even though
film.
they were paid for their services, they really went beyond when we were filming there. They really did. They were really good.
Good, well, what an exciting project. I can't wait to see the film.
Looking good.
Local talent too. That's the other thing, I guess.
Well, it will definitely feel like local.
Yeah.
It will have a very local flavor.
Exactly.
But not so local that I don't think it will appeal to,
Oh, I agree.
you know. And the fact that we're part of the Black Cemetery Network means that
Yeah.
we should get a broad distribution.
Well, it's important to recognize, and particularly that particular cemetery. Because it is, all the cemeteries are historic to a certain degree, and then they have people and so on. But as far as the creation of that cemetery, the whole story about how the select board back in the, 1790s or whatever it was, they designated that property for
And in
burial.
1920, they voted to fence it. I mean, there were, but I think the Black Cemetery Network, I wonder if there isn't a way that, not immediately, but to also, they can link to it as well.
Yeah, once it's on YouTube, it's very easy to
Right.
reach out with the link.
Yeah.
If they have on their network, if they have a link to the Nantucket's Historic Colored Cemetery, it'd be very easy to add that in.
Barbara and I have a question. The grant was made for a project called Nantucket's Historic Colored Cemetery, a walk through history. Because when we conceived it, we actually thought it would be people walking through the cemetery, like the NHA movies, like a walk up Main Street.
Yep.
Well, that's not the way it turned out. Now it's, the presenters are in the studio, and this is interspersed with pictures of the cemetery. We were wondering if the title might not be quite the right title anymore, but because the grant was for that, are we locked into that title?
I think so.
I didn't think so either.
No, that's just
I said proposed.
projects adapt and change.
And now we'll have to think of, because I really put our thinking caps on for a good title.
Because right now, what it says is something like Historic Colored Cemetery in Nantucket, Massachusetts. And where that appears, we won't have the actual title.
You could have it, could be a talking history in virtual,
We'll think of
walkthrough or
something.
something, yeah.
We'll think
Right.
of something snappy.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But you don't think that because that was a proposal title that they're.
No,
Well, exciting. Can't wait to see it. And I'll bet you'd be glad when it's all over.
Oh, no, it's being good. It's being
Well,
good.
Barbara said to me coming here that each time she sees it, she thinks it's better. And I said, having watched it all the way through twice yesterday, I was getting a little
Well, yeah, it's, yes, because we're looking at it
Yeah,
so often, but, because we have to do the timestamp
Mhm.
for where we think there's a correction, you have to stop it right now. It's a bit tedious.
Okay, anything else on that topic? That brings us to old, new, other business. Potential future membership, we talked about that initially at the beginning of the meeting. And
One of the old businesses from last time is Fran and I were going to do some outreach about. We volunteered, you and I, to make sure we let the news outlets know all about. I don't remember whether it was just as simple as the video or was it about the work that the cemeteries have been doing.
Oh, that's.
Press
So I
release.
volunteered.
Yes, now,
And
because
as I was driving here, I was like, what the heck did I volunteer for? And I've done nothing this month.
Alan brought that up, that it would be appropriate very soon to try to get some media coverage about what the commission has accomplished.
Right.
And I think what I did was I volunteered to write,
We both said we would work on it and we would get together and we've not.
not
So-
yet,
Right.
not yet,
But,
but
then it fell out of my brain.
I'm glad you brought it up because it fell out of my
I had
mind
forgotten
too.
about it too.
But, first we have to get this
Right.
Yeah,
video thing done.
And I think it can be part and parcel in a way of it all.
Absolutely,
That,
absolutely.
but not, but focus, that could be a piece.
right.
Oh,
What-
let's see, I did do one thing, and that was I got in touch with Josh Balling about Nantucket today. I said that we would be interested in placing an article about the work of the cemetery commission.
Yeah.
And his response was that they had Kendall working on this article about the film.
That's how Nantucket today is.
No, it's not, it's for the
No,
environment.
right.
But I had asked specifically about Nantucket today. Maybe when he said that she's working on this other thing, maybe the idea is that it might be a bit of an overload to have Kendall's article come out and then have something else really soon after it. But Kendall doesn't have a deadline. That's the thing. We don't know when hers is going to be done.
Right, I think we should get together, and I think, Alan, can you add it to our agenda so that it doesn't fall out of our brains?
Sure, this is the,
Publicity for, just something that reminds us that
Overview of the
overview
cemetery.
of the cemetery progress, and that we wanted to put it out on, the media.
I had written down, I was gonna work on a press release about the restoration work once we were completed.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
that was my original intent, is that once we get.
So once we are completed, so
We still have
That's
two
we're
cemeteries to go,
maybe the fall.
yes.
Okay, that would
That's
be
good.
great,
Yeah, exactly.
even though I won't be on the commission then, I'll work on it.
So anyway, I thought that would be a good time, because we
Well,
will
it's good.
finish
Yeah.
getting off all the stones.
So make sure it's on the agenda. So, because as I was thinking about looking at my agenda last night, I said, there's something I'm missing here that I volunteered to do.
Well, you remember it better than me, because I didn't remember it at all until we began to talk about it.
Well, that's how it works. Sort of, when I get an idea, I'll think about it. If I'm out walking or doing something, then it sort of goes away. I don't write it down, but then I'll think about it maybe a week or two
Talk to
later.
Shan Todd, it's written down.
Okay, is there any other business come before the commission this afternoon? Seeing none, I declare we are at the end of our agenda. And the meeting is
So moved, would I have to move to adjourn? I move to adjourn?
second. All in favor, Barbara,
Aye.
Fran, chair votes aye. We are adjourned.